ways in which we watch out for our communities is through our not-for-profits. Joining me today on Community Health Watch is one of the founders and executive director of a wonderful not-for-profit right here in Queens. And that not-for-profit is Latin Women in Action Incorporated. And joining me here at the round table is Haydee Zambrana. Hi, Haydee.
Hi, Gail. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for joining me on Community Health Watch. It's great to have you.
Thank you, and I really appreciate Community Health Watch for this invitation.
Oh, it's the least we can do with all of the great work that Latin Women in Action do right here in Queens. So let's just jump right into it. Sure. What is the focus, the main purpose of Latin Women in Action?
Well, it was founded in 1990, and since then our focus has been to help families, immigrant families in the borough of Queens. And of course we help other places, but mainly in Queens. Mm-hmm. And we are immigration services, paralegal services. We have an attorney, pro bono attorney, who helps us with that. Mm-hmm. We do parenting classes when the family court or ACS demands that parents go into these services because they have either punished a child, mm-hmm. or if there has been domestic violence of couples. Right. Sometimes people get referred to us either mm-hmm. by them or otherwise by other organizations, mm-hmm. and we provide all these services to the community.
Now that is a lot of services that you
yes.
provide, and you guys are based right in Corona?
Yes, we're at 10306 39th Avenue
right in
Corona.
But you also give workshops all throughout the borough of Queens as well.
Yes, definitely. Mm-hmm. Actually, the last one that we did is through our interns from Queens College, mm-hmm. and it was this past Wednesday. A very nice workshop with many students attending, mm-hmm. some of the staff as well. So we go and we bring whatever topics that the community needs. Mm-hmm. And
into.
So, mm-hmm. yes, and we go to the public school system and we do parenting involvement. Mm-hmm. We do bullying, whatever it is. I mean, whatever they need. And many times lately, as a matter of fact, in January, I'm going to be doing 2 different schools mm-hmm. on parental involvement, mm-hmm. also on attendance, because the attendance among our community is, wow, incredible.
It's down.
Very
it's very
much,
low.
Very much. Mm-hmm. And you know what, the statistics, they already have statistics as to how children are going to score by the 3rd year. If mm-hmm. a child has been out at least 10 times in one single year, that's going to take away 1 month of their child's education.
Really? What grades are we talking about? Primary
from
grades?
1 to 3.
Wow.
Yes.
10 days
10
a school
days.
year.
Right. So that means mm-hmm. that if by the
so
second...
that's one day a month even.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So if the child is out that many days, mm-hmm. in 10, then the next year another 10, and by mm-hmm. the 3rd grade, it's a month.
They're behind.
They are going
all
to be
the
behind.
Other students.
Exactly.
Just because of their attendance, not because of any attention disorder or anything like that.
Just because of attendance.
Wow.
So I go to the schools, I try to create that awareness, mm-hmm. make parents accountable for the child's education, mm-hmm. and I talk to them. A lot of people understand, and they don't realize many immigrants, because of the fact that they speak another language, right. or because they have so many things here, they are saying, oh God, what am I going to do for the summer? My child is off. I cannot be taken off the entire
2
summer.
months, exactly.
So
mm-hmm.
what they do, they send them back home. They
mm-hmm.
send them with a relative. The child, if they're legal in this country, they're going to go back. And sometimes they forget because of the tickets, or they didn't buy enough early enough. They right. want to do the savings a little bit, so they bring yes. the child maybe 10 days later after school has started.
Oh,
there
so that's 10 days right there, and
exactly.
they're a month behind right off the bat.
Exactly.
In September.
In September.
Oh.
I mean, when they should have been here already, the end of August, mm-hmm. getting them ready, getting the school supplies, everything.
Yeah.
And so therefore...
And getting them physically and mentally ready
mentally
to go
prepare.
back to school.
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And so those are many factors that contribute. Other times you have immigrants who do not speak the language, and they yeah. feel that if they have to go to a doctor, if they have to go to a Medicaid office or wherever, they bring the child as an interpreter.
Yes.
That mm-hmm. also takes away from the child being in school. So
yes.
we deal with those things, and those are the type of topics that we bring to the school system.
And a lot of times the children are kind of left to figure it out for themselves, just because mom and dad can't help them because of that language barrier.
Exactly.
So you guys
exactly.
step in and are
yes.
that bridge
exactly.
that people just need especially brand new immigrants.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And we can help as a bridge for them to understand that there are resources that they can have access to, the online teaching, to the Board of Education teaching help for homework help, and all of that. And so it relieves them of that burden that they felt that they have, that they couldn't help their children because of the barrier.
And that's a burden. I mean, that's on top of working full time,
definitely.
working maybe more than one job, taking care of the household responsibilities as well.
Exactly,
Yeah.
definitely. And the fact that they have maybe other children in their country, that they have to work so much
To
in order
send
to be
money
able to
back.
send money back. So those are some of the topics that we cover.
Wow. You sound very knowledgeable, Haydee, about school system. Is that because you worked in the school system for many, many years?
Yes, actually. Probably it has a lot to do with the fact that I was a school counselor, and I retired in 2011. And since then, I've taken on the full-time role at Latin Women in Action as the executive director. But, you know, there are times when you just have to say, I want to retire.
Yeah.
So I'm working, yet I'm looking forward to train someone that will take over the reins of the organization one day, and I can just start relaxing, as we all do, right?
Play with your grandchildren, of course.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I have 6 of them, actually.
Oh my gosh,
Yes,
really? That's
yes.
wonderful.
Yes.
So in your role as a guidance counselor in the school system, New York City Board of Education, you saw a lot of these difficulties firsthand.
Totally. Yes, definitely. And when I went to the Bronx to work at a school that I was about to close, I realized that there were many, many immigrant children. Well, let's not call them children, because that was the high school students. And at that time, what happened? Students who did not know the language, they were either supposed to get bilingual education or ESL. Then let's say that you're a student and you come from Dominican Republic or any of the Caribbean countries where they don't speak English. And so you come at your 10th grade or 11th grade. Now they put you back into the 9th grade.
Yeah.
They don't, in some of the schools, in as much as there's a state law that says that for every 52 hours that you study, you're supposed to get a credit, you bring with a whole bunch of credits from your country, and they don't evaluate them right away. So you might spend a whole year in the 9th grade, and then all of a sudden they say, oh, but wait, you know, he has credits from here, there. They have already spent a whole year wasted in this country.
And then do they promote you to the proper grade, maybe the 11th or the 12th grade, or are you just stuck?
They're stuck because of the fact that now, if they have learned the language, they might be able to move on. But if they don't, they get stuck. They have so many credits that they still have to catch up with. The ESL classes and English in itself, to be able to pass the state test, that you are now proficient in English. So there is a lot of contribution to those factors of dropout, school dropout.
Absolutely.
Those are the key points.
Yeah.
And, you know, very, very few entities are working to remedy that issue. Unfortunately, we don't have funding from the government, so everything that we do, it's all pro bono, it's all we give everything to wherever we go, we do it for free.
Wow. And you guys are a not-for-profit.
Yes, we are a not-for-profit. And the way we survive is that we have to charge certain sliding scale fees on immigration matters, especially those immigration matters where there's no funding. For example, if you're a legal resident or a citizen and you want to petition your father, your mother, there might be no funding for that because you're supposed to be making enough income to be able to bring them over and support them. So we charge a sliding scale fee, and that's how we survive. Then we have, you know, parents, when a child is abused by the parent. A lot of immigrants, again, I will always talk about the immigrants, but it happens in general. It's not just immigrants, it's every person that lives and has children in this country. They might come into a circumstance where they lose their temper, they lose control, and so they will abuse the child. The child goes to school, tells the teacher, my arm hurts, or they see that they have a bruise. The teacher will say, what happened to you? Mommy hurt me, or daddy hurt me. Right away, ACS gets called.
Wow.
80% of the cases that are reported by ACS come from the Board of Education.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, the teachers, the administrators.
Staff, administrators, they are mandated, okay, to call ACS if a child tells them that they have been abused by someone. Before, a few years ago, the law was changed, or the Board of Education chapters on child abuse
Right.
were changed in that now it is mandatory for any staff. So you have the attendants, you have the school aide.
So
you
not
have
just the teacher.
Not
It's
just the teachers.
anyone in the
who
system.
works in the system, if they see a child or they hear from a child that they got hurt by a parent or a relative, that they have to call it in.
Caretaker, yeah.
Now, the unfairness on that, and I would say unfairness, is that it's very difficult because you don't see, you don't get to say to the child, okay, take off your clothes or whatever. You're not supposed to, not even the nurse. If they want to do that, they have to send them to a doctor. They call ACS, and then ACS, the people that come, they can then say, okay, can I see the bruises or the injuries? And depending, of course, on the injury, then they go and they arrest the parent.
Wow.
And the parent goes to jail. I have a
Yes.
parent who spent 3 months in jail because she hit a child with a belt. So 3 months is like a real
That's
crime.
a long time.
Long time for a parent. However, you know, how they make those decisions, that I don't know. But these are the type of cases that we deal with.
Wow.
And so we provide counseling, we provide parenting classes, we do anger management or domestic violence, whatever it is that the court demands, or that the agency that's referring them says, okay, I'm sending you for parenting, I'm sending someone for this or that, and that's what we do.
Talk to me about the parenting classes. Do you go into the schools? Do you do them one-on-one? How do you handle that?
No, on the parenting, we can go and give a workshop, and if the school wants them, we can do, you know, a lengthy type of, because the parenting classes at our agency is 10 classes, at least 10
So it's
sessions.
a series of classes.
It's a series of classes.
And each class is about an hour to
2 hours.
Okay, so
And
20 hours of instruction
sure,
on
and
parenting.
it will go on to relationships. It will go into how to create rules for the child.
Yes.
Everything, the parental involvement, the commitment, responsibilities, accountability on everything with the child.
A lot of times with parenting, we model our parents' behavior when we parent. So if our parents were not maybe the best parents, a lot of times we haven't learned those skills as parents ourselves. So workshops like this are just so incredibly helpful,
definitely.
especially if you've been modeled by a parent who maybe wasn't the best parent to be, you know, didn't have the best skills to begin with. Yeah.
Exactly. And pertaining to immigrants especially, you know, they come from countries where corporal punishment is not against the law.
Right.
And so
Parenting in different countries is very different than here in the United States.
Exactly. So they come here, they believe that they can continue to what they call discipline, because discipline is correcting, wherein punishment is just negative, it's punishment.
Yes.
And so they feel that discipline is by hitting them or by
And that's through no fault of their own. That's what they learned, part of their culture back home. So it's not their fault. That's just what they know.
However, I am of the belief that if a parent does that, unless the injury is so severe that they need to be arrested, that they should be given some kind of leeway to say, okay, we're not going to arrest you, but we're going to have you doing this, this, and this, and that. You have to learn. And if the next time around you do it, then you get arrested. But to arrest someone from the get-go just because they hit someone, I mean, it's not just because. We're talking about the health and safety of the child.
Yes, it is an infraction. It's
exactly,
very serious.
It is serious. However, no one has taught this person about the laws that you should not do this. And that's why it's so important. As a matter of fact, Reverend Diaz, I think the senator in the Bronx, he put out a bill to make mandatory parenting classes.
Yes.
And I think that I definitely support that, because I think that is so, so important.
And not just in the immigrant community, but in lots of different communities in the United States, parenting classes can just fill that gap, because it's not just in immigrant communities where we need the parenting skill.
Exactly. You have a young person, okay, 14, 15. You know how many kids we have now that are pregnant at
who are
14,
having their own
15,
children.
having their own children, and they haven't learned anything about parenting.
Right.
Those kids need to be trained.
Yes.
They need to understand, because a lot of them will go the wrong way and do things that are wrong and beat up the children because they haven't received any type of training on how to be a parent.
Yeah.
It's not getting pregnant.
You need
it's just educating and getting that knowledge that is so important.
You need a driver's license to operate a motor vehicle.
Yes,
And there's no
exactly.
training to, there's
Definitely.
no required or requisite training for having a child
Exactly.
and raising a child.
And it should be double the standards in terms of
It should be
you're
more
having
than
a
the,
child, God, you have to go through this and that in
Yeah.
order to have that child.
or at least make them readily available like your not-for-profit does, so that people, if they even notice in their own lives that there is that hole, that they can go someplace and,
Right.
and learn better ways.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing that we do is that we concentrate, as I don't know if I don't remember if I said it, on immigration.
Yes.
Because of the fact that so many people, newcomers, what we call new Americans, newcomers, arrive in this country. They don't know the laws, they don't know their rights, they don't know anything. They just come, they're undocumented, and they just are, and they stay in the shadows.
Yes.
And so therefore we educate them. And the way that my belief of educating these people is to say, listen, politics rules the world. You're in a country where politics rules everything. So the first thing that you need to do is come out of the shadows, get involved in politics, learn what it is, a political party, how your district or wherever you live, how is it run, who runs it, get involved so that they will know and start to learn how to contribute financially so that someday you can say, here's my contribution. What have you done for me and my family? And so therefore they will say, well, I don't do anything for you because you don't vote. Oh, I don't vote, but I've been contributing.
Yeah.
I've been doing this, I've been doing that. And that's the type of citizen that I want to make sure that we build in this country.
Absolutely.
All these new Americans, because then you know what your rights. Then you know your rights and you know what you have to do and how to demand. So it's not just the vote, it's the voice and the power that you can
Becoming a
have.
real American.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Talk to me about coming out of the shadows. That is very difficult.
Yes, it is. And so there are many laws that keep the people in the shadows. The fact that there's very few laws that says if you came to this country, you can, get your papers right away. That's not so. If you came with the visa, then there are some avenues there depending on what happens. If you came as a refugee or a political asylum, there are certain things. But if you just came through the frontier and, you're breaking the law.
Yeah.
It's a federal law, you're breaking the law. So this government says, well, if you did that, you're going to be punished. So let's say that you come from Mexico or Honduras or wherever you come, and you came through the border, you come into the United States, you go in the shadows, means that you may have a whole big family back in your
home,
country. You
right.
start working, doing whatever, selling flowers or whatever it is that you do here in New York or any part of the country, and you're going to be sending money. You're not paying taxes. Sometimes they do. A lot of them lately, since the amnesty took place in 1986.
Yes.
Every 40-something years, we have an amnesty.
So what's happening right now? President Obama and his new immigration reform bill.
Well, he signed what is called an executive order. An executive order is not a law, but it's an order that says, I, the president, say that this, and this, and that. And 2 years ago, he signed into also an executive order for DACA, which is deferred action for the young people. And
so those are children who, through no fault of their own, were brought here illegally and but have grown up here.
Exactly. Some of them, the ones that qualified had to be here before they were 16 years old.
Yes.
They had to be living here for 5 years. So that was in 2012. Now the new law is extending that program instead of 2 years, which they had it now. Some of them are renewing their employment. They get an employment authorization.
Yes.
And after they get the employment authorization, that extends for 2 years. Now they're going to extend it to 3 years. In addition, they're saying, he just said that now the parents of those children can apply for the same type of relief.
That is great.
For an employment authorization.
So finally you can get a real, quote unquote, real job instead of just being relegated to selling flowers on the street or cleaning windshields or any of the things that you can do if you're undocumented.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not only that, but it gives you the right, I mean, many immigrants have children, 3, 4, 2, whatever the numbers are. If when they file their taxes, because now they have a social security number and they have an ID directed from the Homeland Security, they will be able to file legitimate taxes.
Yes.
And they will be able to get credits.
Tax relief.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so be able to say, yes, I'm legal in this country right now, not a legal permanent resident, but I am legal because I have an employment authorization that says that I can work. They'll be able to get a Social Security number and stabilize their lives.
Right. Get
at
better
least for now.
employment. And on the
Definitely.
flip side, pay more in taxes. So that helps all of us.
Exactly, exactly. So,
I mean, that just increases the tax base,
exactly.
which we all love.
Now, before, also last year, there was a law that came into place, which was the provisional waiver. That goes for anyone who came into the United States illegally or legally, and then his visa expired.
Yes.
And if you're married an American citizen, you could apply for your status, for your legal status. But then there's a whole bunch of requirements in order to meet that criteria. And that started March 4th of last year, 2013. With this new executive order, he's extending it not just to American spouses of American citizens, but he's also extending it to parents, to children of American citizens.
So no longer do you have to worry about your mom being sick back at home and you can't travel, or there's no way of you bringing mom here.
No, I mean, they won't, no, it's if the parents are here.
Yes.
That means that the ones that benefit is if you're a parent and you have a child who's a legal permanent resident or a citizen, you will be applying as a parent for that benefit as well.
That is amazing.
So it's great. I mean, it is not a green card, it's not amnesty, but it gives a relief to those that really need it.
I mean, you can
it's
really
coming
come
out of the shadows.
Yeah.
It's actually coming out of the shadows.
You can feel free to live and get a job and provide for your family.
Exactly.
I cannot even imagine how frustrating it must be to have a family and not be able to provide for them only because you don't have the proper paperwork.
Exactly.
Not because you're not willing to work, or not because you're not educated, or not because you're not intelligent, but just because you lack those numbers, Social Security numbers.
Exactly.
Extremely frustrating.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But something that's not frustrating and something that's wonderful is the reason why, through all of the work that you do with Latin Women in Action, you were tapped to be part of the Queen's Fellowship. What's the Queen's Fellowship?
Well, the Queen's Fellowship is a program geared, I think it's the 5th year now, and it's through the Jewish organization, Jewish Council. And it's been a great program. Someone sent me an email last year, and I said, let me see. I've been a fellow at other programs, and I said, let me see what's happening in Queens, because I had not done anything here in Queens, although I have lived here all my life. And I researched it. I said, oh, I would love to do this. So I submitted it. Hannah called me. She's from that entity. And she said, it's very competitive. I said, oh,
yes,
my God.
they only take 24 people. Well, they only took 24 this year, so
24.
that's extremely competitive.
Exactly. And then when I heard the news, I was so elated because I said, wow, okay. And it's great. When I went there the first day, fabulous. I mean, everyone there is a leader.
Yes, in their own not-for-profits,
yes,
in their own part of the community.
They work for a college or a hospital or a non-for-profit. Some of them are entrepreneurs. And we are mixed of the beautiful thing that Queens is composed of, is that diversity of languages and cultures. And we're all together to come and design a program for maybe another organization, a new organization, a small organization, to be able to get a small grant. And we learned. We learned that process of how to write proposals, how to analyze a proposal, to identify the issues that are so crucial in the community. So it's a fantastic program.
And the Queen's Fellowship runs for 10 months. And you guys meet about how often?
We meet once a month because we have to meet as a committee. We belong to a different committee, and then we have the general seminars, as they call them. And so we just had one in November. In December, I think that we're meeting. And from there on, every month, either the grant making or the development committee is meeting, and it'll be finished in June. And by then, we should be having some wonderful projects coming out of there.
That is tremendous.
This is part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I learned about this through Curlene, and I thank her so much because I think this is fantastic what you guys are doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all the work that the Queen's Fellowship, just the idea of bringing together so many different minds for something for people who are like-minded. Everyone's like-minded in the
Yes.
sense that they want to give back, but it seems as if the 24 people all come from such diverse backgrounds.
Yes, they
Yeah.
do. They do.
And you guys do
The
great
Queens
work together.
Museum,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, elderly, the housing, employment, you name it, we have it there.
Wow.
So it's fantastic.
So for more information about the Queens Fellowship, I know we can go to onequeens.org. And for more information about Latin Women in Action, where can we get more info?
Well, it's right here. I don't remember it, but you can go to the internet at latinwomeninAction.org.
LatinWomenInAction.org.
Yes, we're also on Facebook and on Twitter.
Great.
Yes.
And you guys are located in Corona. That number
Yes.
is 718.
478-2972.
Okay, so if people need any of the services that you provide, any social service that you provide, any kind of referral, if people are looking for a place to get parenting classes or
can call
paralegal, need a paralegal or paralegal help, or need help with their immigration issues, they can come and find you.
Definitely so. Yeah.
So whatever people need help with,
Right.
they can reach out to you at Latin Women in Action, latinwomeninaction.org.
Yes.
Right? All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching us here on Community Health Watch with me, Gail Lewis. You can always find me online, gail-lewis.com. Or you can always find me here at Community Health Watch as well. I'd like to thank our guest today on Community Health Watch, Haydee Zambrana. Thanks, Haydee,
Thank you,
for
Gail.
joining us, and her organization, Latin Women in Action Incorporated. Thanks so much for watching Community Health Watch. I've been Gail Lewis, and we're going to see you again here on Community Health Watch real soon. Good night.